Hey there, Soul Shines. It's Michelle here, and I'm inviting you to wake up and live. And before I even start, I'm going to tell you there's some guys doing some work right outside of the car. So if I'm distracted, that is why. So today I want to talk about one of the most powerful things that I've heard recently. I am taking a little course. It's like a 5-day challenge kind of experience thing from prosperity experience from Allison Chavez. I think that's how you say her last name. It's Chavez, and she's so dang amazing. My daughter says she looks like Ariel. So Allison has been teaching this course, and she's shared some amazing things. And one thing she shared about was not a new concept, but there were some new things about it, and the way it was put was very different. And so I wanted to share that. In the past, I've talked about fear-based emotions and love-based emotions, and that can be so confusing because we have fear as an emotion, and so people are like, oh, I'm not feeling fear. Technically, you probably are, but it gets so kind of confusing when you refer to it as a fear-based emotion. And in my understanding, fear-based emotion is pretty much anything that feels heavy, so any of the negative emotions. And a love-based would be any of the positive, and that's also confusing because we have, love as an emotion as well. So I love the way that she classified it into two different groups. One of them is the suffering, kind of the suffering mindset or state of being. So the suffering state of being is going to have all of those negative emotions, and a beautiful, prosperous state of being is going to have all the positive emotions. And you cannot create, you can't create anything really. You can't create what you consciously want to create from the suffering mindset. That suffer, struggle, anxiety, fear, boredom, despair, sadness, sorrow, like all of those really heavy feelings, you cannot create what you actually want to create. Obviously, we're always creating. Every single thing that we create, we're amazing manifestors, and there's not a person on the planet that's not an amazing manifester. The challenge comes to actually consciously choose what you want to manifest, to delegate what you're manifesting. And so you cannot do that from this suffering struggle state. You must be in this beautiful, prosperous state. That's when you feel peaceful about things. You feel more joy, and you feel great. And you can never be in one, both at the same time. You must be in one or the other. There's no in between on this one. And sometimes some of us, like myself, I flip-flop through them all day long. I have tools to bring me out of them, and I flip-flop all day long. But I have areas where, like, instantly in that area, it's like dang right back into that. So one of the things that she talked about was kind of one of the ways to get out of it is just really being aware of what's happening. It's all about a decision you've made about something, a story you've put on about something. So earlier this week, things got kind of thrown way off. My kids went to school on Monday. Monday afternoon, we got a message saying that the high school is going to be closed for 2 days, and then they were dividing up the students and doing half and half because we've had, I don't know, they aren't announcing how many cases. I don't feel like that it's a lot, but they've announced things, and they've kind of gone into another panic, and they shut down the school. At first, it really had me upset. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing so good with my homeschool routines. We get up, we get going, we know what we're doing, it's all great. What the heck happened? But then I remembered, if I don't have to do homeschool in the morning this week, then I can be to Allison's videos live. And it's really fun being to her videos live, and there's bonuses and there's just some amazing energy from being on her videos live. So I was able to let go of that story. She shared a story I think is pretty fabulous about her own experience where her son brought home a friend, and that friend needed to use the restroom, and the next day Allison needed to go in and use the restroom, and they used like the guest bathroom, which, you know, Allison didn't use all the time just because she had other bathrooms, right? And she went in, and she just was mortified. She went into her stories, which put her back into that suffering, struggle energy, and she went into like, I'm so embarrassed because my bathroom isn't clean to my standards and all of these things. And she kind of, you know, having all the tools, she looked at it. But also she talked to her son, and her son told her, hey, my friend's bathroom is so much worse than yours. Like, you don't have to worry about it. And that's the thing, is we go into these stories. We make up these ideas of what people will think about us, or what it says about her as a mom. And I do this all the time, like the stories that it says about me as a mom. Yesterday I didn't take a shower until like 11:30, and that's not my typical, but I was kind of beating myself up for it until I was like, wait a minute, whoever said that I was a bad person if I didn't get dressed first thing in the morning? Like, whose story am I giving power to? I had very good reasons why I didn't get dressed. And even if I didn't, who cares? Like, those are just stories that we tell ourselves so that we can judge ourselves and beat ourselves up. But every time we're telling those stories, making those stories, we're going into the struggle energy. Instead of, you know, just loving where we're at and choosing to, you know, let go of those stories. And so for me, I was able to say, oh, wow, that's interesting that I was thinking that way. Well, isn't it amazing that I'm getting dressed now? And that I'm getting dressed before I go out of the house. Not one of those people going to the store in my pajamas. And I guess if I was, who cares? I don't know. So it's really about the stories that we tell about ourselves. She said the way into, and I don't fully understand this one, but I think we have different understandings of what boredom means. Which is the gateway into struggle is boredom. And the gateway out is curiosity. Now, I definitely understand the curiosity. That's when you start asking yourself questions, like, what story am I even listening to? And who gave me that story? And is it true? And you start asking the questions so that you can change your mind about the story. You can decide, hey, it actually wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, like, compared to somebody's house, my bathroom's amazing. Or, hey, I actually did get dressed today. And look at all the things that I did before I got dressed. Like, I can really change how I look at it, and it changes how I feel about things. So that's my little message for you guys today. I hope that you totally loved it. Remember, I love comments and shares and likes and all that fun stuff, subscriptions, you know. The typical YouTube responses. And I'm headed now in, oh, what time is it? I let my phone, my car went off. And I need to go. I know I need to go without even knowing what time it is. I got a couple minutes. Sorry, I got so sidetracked there. Yeah. I'm almost ready for physical therapy. And I'm going to go in, and what am I going to choose? I'm going to choose to be a beautiful, prosperous state. Because when I choose into the stories about where I should be in my healing journey, I know that I fell in November. 3 months later, I had surgery in January. And it has been, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. And we're now into September. That's right. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we're almost 8 months since my surgery. 7.5 months since I had surgery. And I've got all these stories about where I should be in my healing. The stories that didn't take into the account of my age. You know, even though I'm 29, I do have a son that is almost 28. You do the math. Nobody took into consideration that I already had some health issues, possible fibromyalgia, maybe definitely adrenal fatigue. Nobody took those things into consideration when they said where I should be. Nobody took into consideration how my body responded to 3 months, actually 3.5 months of non-weight bearing, and what that does to my muscles. So the stories were made without taking any of these things into consideration. And their stories were made without taking into consideration anything that maybe be perfect about this situation. And so if I allow myself to get into these should be's, where I should be, I'm buying into a story that isn't true. I'm exactly where I need to be in my healing. I'm progressing. I'm learning so much about myself. I'm learning a lot about my body, and I'm exactly where I need to be. And I have been making progress. So why am I beating myself up? Because I bought into a story. And so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to choose to be in gratitude and love and forgiveness and joy and all of those amazing, beautiful states. And that's what I'm choosing today when I go into physical therapy. And I hope that's what you're choosing for whatever you're doing in your life. And notice and choose out of, really check in. What story am I buying into? Anyway, that's it for today. I love you guys so much. Remember, let your light shine. Big, bright light and beautiful. And there's a story I've been telling myself. I have made up a story about what it means to shine, and I don't resonate with the concept that my story tells. But there are so many ways to shine. Maybe you sparkle. Maybe you get super excited. Maybe you're calm and you're just a reflection. Maybe you're like the reflection off of water or a moonbeam. Or maybe you're like the bright sun or a roasting fire. What's your kind of shine? And that's what I want to see. I want to see you. And that's what shine really means. Be you. Be your gifts. Be the amazing person you were. Choosing into that state of beautiful and prosperous and high vibration. And so with that, I'm going to say, remember to let your light shine. Be the you that you're created to be. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!